Tom, I probably already told you, but do you remember the boogeyman?
I think you did tell me that story.
Oh, okay.
Well, you asked me if I'd heard it before.
I still sleep with the dresser in front of my door.
But he murdered teenage girls. You're in your 40s. You'd be fine.
Kate, welcome to the Awards Tour podcast.
Thanks for having me.
First of all, Widow's Bay is such a lovely surprise, but a surprise I did not know I was in store for when people just kept kind of raving that I needed to check out this show on Apple TV. I'm curious how it came to you because it's such an interesting concept, which we'll get into later. And your character is just, I think, an actor's wildest dream.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. A dream come true for me. I mean, it came the way scripts do. You know, it was like a tape to do on email. And for me, that first script, the world just came out. It was like 3D already to me. Like, I didn't really have a big question of tone with it in the way that, you know, that keeps the notion of tone keeps coming up in interviews. But for me, I just thought it made sense in some way. And I think, you know, Katie, I know, has talked publicly about these scripts being with her for like 12 years. And I think there was, you got that from the read of it. It was so layered and whole.
Yeah, no, definitely. You could definitely feel she had, I would say, prosecuted everything that she wanted to put on screen and made sure it held up within her world. I think people that are like surprised by the genre, they just don't watch things outside of America. Because I find a lot of like, you know, no, I mean, I'm not trying to be rude on it, but like European, Asian, just I think out, you know, that 1 inch barrier of subtitle television, they all do this sort of like genre mashing. What was your sides that they had you read? I'm curious. Like, what was the scene? Because I'm like, is it a moment where she's doing more Patricia types things? Like, you know what I mean? Like, or is it the
was I running from the boogeyman?
Yeah,
no.
like I wonder.
Yeah. I'm trying to think back now. I think looking back on it, my first I did 2 tapes, and I think the first tape was like me sort of with Rosemary just kind of doing Patricia in the town hall. And then there was a scene that I didn't know the context of, but was with the Mean Girls at the party where she's not invited and they're talking about her. That, I think, was the first tape. And then they wanted me to do a couple more scenes, and I'm trying to think. I don't know if there was a scene from episode 5 with the shaman, and when it's discovered that Loftus has taken the mushrooms by accident, and the reaction to that. Yeah. I think that those were the scenes. So I didn't quite know the context, but still, I don't know. There's something about it that made sense.
Well, we're going to definitely talk about the one you mentioned as far as the boogeyman. But before we get there, I actually want to talk about episode 4, because I think that is like a perfect encapsulation of why the character has like captivated so many people, and why I hope you feel the love that a lot of people have put on the show through your character and your performance. But that's a wild ride of an episode. I mean, it starts in the most innocent of places of the slightly awkward, very earnest girl trying to get people to like her, and ends up at a place that is just, well, the way the episode actually starts with like people calling for help because something has gone really, really wrong. Talk about shooting that episode, because it's physically demanding, actorly demanding, and then there's also all these like very big set pieces and like complicated logistics.
Yeah, I mean, we shot it in about 7 days. It was quick, and it was just, and in a way that was the best way, just total immersion. I got to work with the incredible director, Sam Donovan, and I just had read that it was such a tight script. It was such a brilliant episode that it was just important to us to just plot emotionally, give different options in each scene where she is. And it was a playground to have a lot of fun with. I mean, it is an actor's dream, like you say. Every actor wants that kind of story arc. And there was so much fun to be had in playing a character who you're like, what the hell is going on with her? She's kind of too much, and a bit, and then to go in a really unexpected place was a lot of fun. It's like it had all the layers of complexity that you could wish for. And I mean, Sam and I, in doing it, we did just become Patricia, and we're kind of talking like we were both Patricia and kind of workshopping it on set, and it just felt very playful.
Yeah. Another thing that I've not talked about because, this is a basically I kind of like put it in my mind like, and maybe it's because a couple of the actors are in this, but it's like Midnight Mass meets picket fences. Like in certain ways, it's a strange town where people are just like dealing with it. And in another way, there's all of this like sinister stuff going underneath it. I'm curious, what is the part of it that people are most coming up to you about? Because I do feel like it's a slow burn of a show, but some people may just be in love with like the Patricia, like, you should be supportive, like just her, like, audacity of craziness. And then other people can be completely like nonplussed by that and just into the like horror elements, like you being the ultimate final girl and like shooting that shotgun at homeboy the entire time. Like, and they could be fans of it for different reasons. So, what is the thing, or what do they come up to you about when they come up to you on the show, if anything?
I think it's about the show as a whole. It just seemed to scratch a nostalgic itch. And there's just
Mm,
something so comforting about it. And with Patricia, I mean, there are so many brilliant lines I got to say and so many brilliant setups. Are you mad at something I said? Which is not something I say,
yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
there's a lot of iconic lines that were funny from reading. I'd read that script and it's not that often that you laugh, or I find that I laugh out loud reading. But
Mm.
with this, like the surprise, the reveal of the what she's wearing on her head. When I first read that, in the episode for the antlers, I was crying with laughter. And then I guess what's surprising about that is that when I saw it, it was weirdly heartbreaking. It's just that it's just got that duality, and Patricia has that duality the whole way through. That is, you don't quite know where you're at with her, um, and I wonder if that's what hooked people in, maybe.
I also think that scene hits harder because of what Mr. Carroll is doing in that scene, because his horror, looking around and seeing like the bodies, and I think that's like also what like changed the scene. But I think that's like a testament to this cast and the crazy stuff that y'all have done with it. Like y'all just make these lines even more interesting. Do you have a favorite scene partner that you got to have this year? Because let's be real, we're talking Dale Dickey, we're talking Matthew Rhys, all of these folks.
I couldn't pick out a single one. And that's not me being diplomatic, but I felt like I was joining the best of the best, on this. I mean, they
Mhm.
really are the best of the best. Kevin, I'm so glad you mentioned Kevin Carroll, because what Kevin does with Bashir, he gives it this kind of weight and you feel the stakes of it. And yet he is so funny. Like everything he does is just hysterical in a very deadpan way. And I loved acting with Kevin. And I loved acting, you don't, that's not always the case, but on this, it really was like every day was a joy to be on set and see who I was going to get to play with, and obviously with Matthews, just feels like my older brother or something. That was just kind of like natural. And then with Stephen, I could, give you an essay about how brilliant it was to work with all of them.
Yeah. Bringing it back to episode 4 and that scene, there's obviously the reveal that you talked about with the antlers, but at the beginning of the scene, it's with the tiara, and I've seen behind the scenes pictures of you trying on the antlers. I'm curious, were you able to play the tiara knowing that it was like what the antlers were looking at? When did you get to see the
I
whole like look?
I mean, I tried. How many looks were there? Right, 4 different types of. There was a lot of discussion about the antler crown and whether it should have a bird's nest and whether the fox or the roadkill should have teeth and all of that. So I knew all of that going in, but it didn't really matter when it comes to it because Patricia just thinks she's wearing a tiara. So I didn't need to worry about the antlers playing it. I was just playing, this. I'm the queen of my party, and like this is
No.
my moment.
This is your moment.
Yeah,
Facts. This is
this
your
is I'm
moment.
doing it. Yeah.
You also get musical breaks in there. Did the script say what your songs were gonna be? Also, did
No,
you have fun
that,
with that? Or did they get you a choreographer? You're like, we're freestyling.
so so I remember Katie coming up to me on a night shoot and saying, I just want to check in with you that, I know this is some actors' idea of like their worst nightmare, these directions that, Patricia's busting out some moves. How do you feel about that? And I was like, leave it with me. I love this. And I kind of talked it up so much that when I left that night, I thought, my God, what am I going to have to come up with in this dance scene? And then
Yeah.
Sam Donovan was like, we've got a choreographer. I was like, what am I going to be doing? I'm going to be doing some kind of tap dancing extravaganza. Anyway, with the choreographer, we just looked at some like music videos. I thought it felt right that Patricia watches music videos on her own at home and, you know, learns the dance moves just in case so she has it in her back pocket in case she's invited to that party and like she's got that fantasy of like being this amazing
Oh,
dancer
so
and everyone
she's
cheering her.
oh my God, so she's practicing like TikTok dances. I kind of love that.
Yeah,
Like she's at
TikTok,
home.
but Widow's Bay style, like VHS tapes, and you know, so we had a bit of hip hop. We were like, bit of Bob Fosse, bit of, you know, just an eclectic mix, and then I did freestyle on the night of just what felt, you know,
Do you
Patricia.
remember? Do you remember any of the music video artists? Because like I really love that time of like 80s, back when they played music videos on MTV. You know what I mean? Like
Yes,
back when it
I'm
would be
trying to
like
think.
Bowie and
What's
Under
where does
Pressure.
that move come from? That one.
Which
Oh, what
one?
is it?
I
I
can't
can't
see your
think.
arm, so I can't really see it. I'm sorry, I can't see that
Um,
move. It's
I
basically your
can't.
shoulders going like this.
Yeah, that one.
Sorry.
I could do. No, I can't think what that video was. But Rhythm of the Night, which was the song that was used, Sam came up with that, and the music video, if you remember, is very pagan like. So we had a bit of this. She's copying that video, and the Fosse is more like, you know, strike a pose, not Vogue, but Fosse. I mean,
Not Vogue, but Fosse.
yeah.
Yeah,
And then I
that's
don't know
like
what this was. I mean, it was just kind of like whatever was striking me.
it reminded me the movies back in the day that would have like a cool theme song like Mannequin, and then the characters would just kind of dance to it. And so it wasn't a musical moment, but it felt like a musical moment. That's what it
Yeah.
reminded me of. And in that
Yes.
same like montagey type, normally the two are falling in love over that song, but they're also like dancing to it. So anyway, it very much hit the
Yeah,
nostalgia
I think
key.
that's a really good shout, and it's like going back in time a bit. It's just sort of reminding you of like the sort of reference points from back then that feel really right for the show.
Exactly. The reason why I wanted to bring up the cast, though, is I specifically wanted to talk about Matthew Rhys because I think on the surface of the story, your characters would be a lot more together than they are in season one. And what I really think is interesting is as both of them go on their somewhat separate and maybe like kind of together journeys, by the time we get to it, like it's interesting because I feel like this is all going to go right when you two finally get on the same page. And I'm curious if that's something that you and Matthew Rhys's character are kind of playing right now. Do you know what I mean? Like you're both battling separately. And I feel like if both of you are coming to the like, let's go do this together, that's when things are going to turn the positive tide.
Yeah, I mean, it felt like there was a feeling that you have the first three episodes, which feel like a monster of the week. And then at the end of that, at the end of episode four of Patricia's thing, there is a coming together of the three of them. And then they're on the
Yeah.
same page and they're going for it. But you know what? We never talked about it. We never talked
Really?
about it. No, like, you know what would happen? I'd come on set and you know, we'd often be in a car, Matthew and I, and sometimes he'd start talking as Tom Loftus, and then I'd just kind of be like, "Oh right, okay," and then I'd start talking as Patricia, and then we'd talk as Matthew and Kate, and it was all sort of it was sort of like yeah, it
Really?
was, but it was never like, "What do you think of this scene?" Or it was never talked about, or like we never pulled at the thread. We just kind of got into character and goofed
Wow.
around. That's how we
I
did
mean,
it.
that's how you played with it. And look, it's a very playful script. And it's not to say that they don't team up, but what I'm saying is that I still feel like nobody's being honest with each other. And I think that's kind of a theme of Widow's Bay. Do you know what I mean? Like the town has so many secrets underneath it. Have you talked ahead with Katie about, because there's just like a lot of threads that you guys can pull if you get to continue the story that you guys set up in the season. You know what I mean? I'm
Yes,
curious
yes.
if any of the time that you're playing season one, Katie's like, hey, you don't know this, but this is about to be a thing later if we continue. And so you are sort of like, ooh, I wonder what those scripts are going to be when I see it. Has she previewed any of that for you?
No, not at all. It's a complete
Mm.
mystery. And there's something I really like about, sometimes it depends what you are in as an actor. Sometimes a backstory is absolutely vital and you need to know
Yeah.
everything about the character, everything about, and then other times it's kind of, you're like, it's like clay and you're sort of shaping it. And, the character's becoming clear as you create it and as you go through a series. So there's loads of things I don't know about Patricia and that I didn't want that it seemed like it just seems like a living organism, that she'll kind of grow and we'll figure out what feels right rather than sort of have it all nailed down before we've made season one or as we're making season one because the series grows and shifts and changes. So with this one, I don't know anything going into season two at all. And there's loads of stuff I don't know about
Ooh,
Patricia, you know.
that's
There's stuff
fair.
I know about Patricia, like that I feel in my instinct about her, but like in terms of facts and like her actual history, I don't know. If I
Oh,
did, I
wow.
don't know.
Well, then you just get to enjoy it all.
Yeah.
I want to ask you a little bit too, because now I think for a lot of folks, this may be their introduction to you, and mine is not that much deeper, but you were a part of a show that I loved that I felt should have gotten way more play, and that is My Lady Jane. And I loved you in that. But I'm curious for you as an actor in your position, you've been working as a working actor for quite a while now. How does this moment feel if you could kind of describe it to maybe an actor who is at the place in your career that you were when you were doing stuff like Death in Paradise, or you know what I mean? Like, what would you say to them if you're like, hey, I know you're starting, you're getting it going. What would you say this moment feels like if you had to describe it now that you're in something that has become a global sensation? And there's a lack of, I'm sure, like people talk to you on the street now in a way that look at your face, you're
Huh?
like, yes.
Yeah. It's well, I know it's really rare to get a show like this, to get a part like this. I mean, I've had 20 years of working as an actor in the theatre, had a great theatre career, but the experience, what it feels like is that the golden claw came and took the cuddly toy out of, the seaside town and plonked her in Massachusetts, and there we go. Or like, the big finger went, it could be you. It was like a lottery ticket. That's what it feels like. Not to say I hadn't, it came. I had worked really hard and I got it at a point when I was, had was capable to be able to plot out that kind of character and that kind of journey. But those opportunities don't come around every day, and it
Mm.
was, yeah, it feels like really kind of like a lottery ticket or something.
Mm. I find people like yourself that have had illustrious careers, whether it be people that maybe were successful in music first or like a different form of acting like you with theater, that if it comes at the point in your career that this comes, it's actually better. Like I've heard a lot of them say that if they would have gotten it earlier, it probably wouldn't have worked because they wouldn't have been. Do you feel that way? Or you're like, no, I was ready at 20?
Well, at 20, I would have been like, I'm ready. But actually, it happening now is much better because I got to learn without, all that public spotlight. So I was, not. So now, actually, what that has given me is not feeling so precious because, precious about trying and failing because I've done it a lot,
Mm.
with just in terms of acting and characters and plays that didn't quite work or like I just feel like okay, I've been through that, and yeah, there's a sort of real gratitude, and I'm a bit more sorted in my own life, and it's just I'm just excited. I'm just riding it.
Yeah. Well, enjoy the ride. It's already an incredible one to sort of start back with it. I think you alluded to this and kind of previewed it, but I just want to get this clean. Favorite one-liners of Patricia from Widow's Bay. Obviously, it's not even a one-liner of yours, but the now iconic note of "Did I say something to make you mad?" That's obviously there. But what's your like, there's too many quotes. You have to give
Just
me a run
so.
of your favorites.
Okay, it's not a quote, but I do love the music choice with the Enya in episode 8. That really made me howl when I watched it. I love in episode 1 where I'm at Shep's, like he's in a coma. Oh no, he's not in a coma. I can't remember, but I apologize for wasting his time, Tom. really tickled me. Like, I mean, there were so many zingers that I got to say, you know.
Where are all the good little what
But
are
the
all the good
good-looking
looking
people, that was a
people?
late edition.
Yeah.
That was a
Yeah.
late edition. That was so funny. That repeated 3 times. I mean, you know, she's the worst. She's the fucking worst. You know, like I don't know it. I mean, it was. I was like in a sweet shop. I was in a sweet shop with it, a candy store. I had line after line after line after line to say.
Yeah, she's so like bitchy in like the best way. Cause like the other one too is the one you say to Dale Dickey, where it's like, I don't need your negativity right now. I just need your support. When in actuality, it's like, no, you're wearing the most ridiculous headpiece on the face of the earth, and you don't know that because you think it's a tiara. But go
Yeah.
ahead. We're living in Patricia's world, and she is just having the time.
Yeah, I loved her how brittle she is. She's
Yes.
brittle, you know,
Yes.
and she's tough. She's both of those things, you know. It's all going on. No, yeah, the passive aggressiveness I love. The victim. Oh, no one's thinking about me again. That kind of vibe I find really funny, and you know, and then you see the bravery of her later on, and that she does think about other people. But no, it's all of it. It's all of it.
I love how, in the most dire of circumstances, that's when she becomes basically Sarah Connor. And before we get out of here, I definitely want to talk about she did. She effing did. That, first of all, as I don't know if you are aware of this, but like the Black community in general has a love-hate relationship with horror because we are basically like, why are you doing that? Like, why are you turning your back on this man? You know he's going to jump up. And I love how she finally gave the physical embodiment of no. Is he dead, dead? And now that has become such a meme, which I hope you are aware of, because it's like the next time I break up with a man, this is how I'm saying goodbye. Like that's literally like what people do now is like, okay, he's gone. Like really this time? I'd be curious for you if you have felt the impact of that. And also how fun it was to be like the best version of a final girl in a horror movie.
Had no idea what Final Girl was until we did press for this. I didn't understand. I didn't know what that meant. But yeah, it was amazing. I mean, even at the time, I was like, God, Patricia's really smart. Like going to the petrol station with her last bit of charge, and you know, all of that. I would never have dreamed of. And what I love is that it's not like I needed to have good running form. You know what I mean? You just need to get the job done, however it needs to be done. So it's not like I'm playing FBI or you know she's like in her slippers. It's kind of messy. But she gets it done. You know, she's a normal person, like figuring it out in real time.
Gets it done and doesn't make the same mistakes that everybody else has made.
No.
Because now it's like, if you're not putting the gun on them until they get inside the crematorium, are you really killing the bad guy?
Well, there we
We
go.
would
I
have,
hope it set a precedent now. We won't accept any less in any other horror.
there will be no more Michael Myers if we would
Definitely
have just
not.
said that after the first one. But shout out to Jamie Lee Curtis. We still love her. Um, the other thing I wanted to talk about you before you get out of here, and as somebody who like felt every bit of Secret and Lies as like a part of my like being like I think I started becoming an
Uh-huh.
Oscars awards editor because of what Mike Lee did in Secret and Lies, and then like Happy Go Lucky and what he did with Sally Hawkins, and then now he's come out, Mike Lee, and said that the film that you star in, Tender Loving Care, is going to be his last. I'd be curious for you to talk about that, and then also now to be a huge part of this man's history, who's already such an incredible filmmaker, and you're going to be part of one of his final chapters.
Yeah, well, it's special, you know. He gave me my first job, pretty much. Happy Go Lucky was my first job at 21, playing Sally Hawkins' sister. And then 20 years later, to be in his final film and get to work with him as an adult, you know, that's lived more, worked more, can collaborate more with him, you know, as an artist. Um, I mean, it was an honor. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was an honor. It was special, and I was part of an amazing ensemble of actors who he has had, like Marion Bailey and Paul Jessen. He's worked with them since the 70s, and just to be
Yeah.
part of that amazing journey and watch these actors with all that history, shared history, and you know, brilliance. I won't forget it. Yeah, it was special. I love Mike. He's a sweetheart.
Yeah, I mean, There's something I will say. Even though I know his films are probably going to make me feel things and get involved in these characters, they're also definitely going to make me feel emotional. But I'd be curious if you could talk a little bit about, or at least preview maybe what it's about, because I know that I'm going to probably cry during the runtime of this because it's Mike Lee and the man is a master of emotional manipulation of his audiences and also getting them to fall in love with his characters. Uh, I'm curious for you if you could just tell us a little bit, or what could you tell us?
I don't know what I can feel Mike on my shoulder, and I'm like, can I say anything, Mike? Probably not. I think he'd probably kill me. He'd give me a look. I don't know.
Okay, fair.
Tender love and care. It's about how we care. How we care for
How we care
yeah,
for
but
each
that's
other.
in the title. I'm not really giving, and I think he'll let me off with that. I'm not really giving anything away there.
That's fair. They can get you involved in like, I don't know, Marvel now because you've definitely you've held up. You keep it tight. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. We're gonna get out of here again. I just want to say congratulations on Widow's Bay. It was a disturbingly hilarious watch. So thank you for giving it to us.
Thank you so much. Lovely talking to you.